I can't tell you with any certitude that there's actually been a list of names. I know there may have been, but I know of no circumstance. It doesn't mean didn't exist. That here's the names of 12 people, they're coming, let them through. It could very well have happened. Wait. Let me take the one question from the most interesting guy that I know in the press. That's you. I'll take a few more questions, but you, sir.
I wanted to ask you,
okay.
You say that...
They gave me a list here. The first person I was instructed to call on was Kelly O'Donnell of NBC. There's a lot of reasons why they have reached out, not just to us, but to others, as to why it would be continued in their interest to get more of the personnel we want to get out. We can locate them. Now, there's not many left that we can assess that want to come out.
Mr. President, there had not been a U.S. service member killed in combat in Afghanistan since February of 2020. You set a deadline, you pulled troops out, you sent troops back in, and now 12 Marines are dead. You said the buck stops with you. Do you bear any responsibility for the way that things have unfolded in the last 2 weeks?
I bear responsibility for fundamentally all that's happened of late. But here's the deal. You know, I wish you'd one day say these things. You know as well as I do that the former president made a deal with the Taliban that he would get all American forces out of Afghanistan by May 1. No, I'm asking you a question. Because before... No, wait a minute. I'm asking you a question. Is that accurate, to the best of your knowledge? What?
I don't think the issue is, do you think that people have an issue with pulling out of Afghanistan or just the way that things have happened?
I think they have an issue that people are likely to get hurt. Some, as we've seen, have gotten killed, and that it is messy. The reason why, whether my friend will acknowledge it or has reported it, the reason why there were no attacks on Americans, as you said, from the date until I came into office, was because the commitment was made by President Trump, I will be out by May 1st. In the meantime, you agree not to attack any Americans. That was the deal. That's why no American was attacked.
A few days ago, you said you squarely stand by your decision to pull out.
Yes, I do. This is why, from the outset, I've repeatedly said this mission was extraordinarily dangerous, and on why I've been so determined to limit the duration of this mission.
You were in some of these meetings today. Was there ever a point where the president was reconsidering this deadline of having all U.S. forces out by August 31st?
No, and here's why. The president relies on the advice of his military commanders, and they continue to believe that it is essential to get out by the 31st.
The president promised earlier that they'll continue to get any American who wishes to get out of Afghanistan out even after the 31st. How is the administration going to ensure the safe evacuation for U.S. citizens without troop presence when, even with troop presence, we just saw this attack happen?
Well, again, over the last 11 days, we've evacuated 104,000 people, including the vast majority of Americans who are in Afghanistan. But our commitment does not end, right? We are continuing to work to get every American citizen who wants to leave out before the 31st. We will need to continue to coordinate with the Taliban.
Biden spoken with any foreign leader after the attacks in Kabul?
Today, I will have to check on that for you. That's a great question. I'm not sure he has today, but I will check on that for you. And as you all know, he's going to be meeting with the Prime Minister of Israel tomorrow.
General McKenzie described this, one of the explosions at the Abbey Gate happening at a point after someone had been searched by the Taliban. How is the United States still going to work with the Taliban the way that the president is describing, or just did in his remarks, to get American citizens and Afghan allies out if that is what we're working with?
Look, I'm not trying to sugarcoat what we think of the Taliban. The Taliban they're not a group we trust, They are not our friends. We have never said that. It is also the reality that the Taliban controls large swaths of Afghanistan. And to date, because of coordination with the Taliban, we've been able to evacuate more than 104,000 people, save 104,000 lives. And that coordination is necessary in order to continue our evacuation measures. Now, I understand your question, Peter, and the questions of others on what they knew or what their role was. There's no assessment we have at this point in time of their involvement in this. Obviously, that's at this time. If that changes, we will let you all know.
And does the president really think that they are going to be reliable partners if we're already getting reports that they're not letting Afghans to the airport and the U.S. is still at the airport?
Well, I think you mean after the 31st or moving over the next couple of days?
Well, we've heard that it's already happening. So does he think that's going to get
Well,
bad?
I'd note also that, as the president just said, more than 7,000 people have been evacuated over the course of the last 12 hours. That is while there was an active attacks that were happening. Those are individuals who were let through gates, who were let onto planes, and got us well over 100,000 people who have been evacuated. Again, this is not about trust. This is not about relying on the Taliban as an equal partner. No one is suggesting that. But because they control large swaths of the country, including a lot of the security perimeters around the airport, we have to coordinate with them in order to get people out. We'll continue to do that. Go ahead. But so one more thing I would say is that we have an enormous amount of leverage. This is our view over time. That includes economic leverage. It includes leverage that we will make clear to the Taliban as it relates to coordination, continue to get American citizens and our partners out. Go ahead.
Jen, there have been reports of explosions happening throughout the afternoon in Kabul, or evening now, obviously, and some reporting to indicate that this is the beginning of a process of the U.S. military beginning to destroy equipment on the ground. Can you confirm that that's what's taking place?
I would refer you to the U.S.